Welcome to the Kayfabe Soup podcast. Uh, I am your host, Ground Reducer Jr. Today, I am joined by Argyle, intern, PBR, and Habes. So we have pretty much a full squad here tonight. Would you guys like to say hello?
No, I would not.
Okay.
I also would not like to say hello.
Hello, ladies and jobbers. It's your captain speaking, Argyle here.
That was a really good Val Venus voice at the beginning.
It was. I liked that.
It was
That was
really good. I'm like, holy crap.
I want there to be a saxophone riff behind that.
We can make that happen.
Saxophone riff, and then a whole bunch of complaining about the government and being socialists and other libertarian-leaning things, because that's what he's into now.
I thought he was into selling.
Complaining about that.
I thought he was into selling legal weed.
That too.
Yeah, that's what I heard. All right. Today, what's on the agenda today? Are we ready for freaking? We're gonna be talking about Impact's pay-per-view, the Money in the Bank participants, Joy Ryan possibly leaving the Indies, WWE hiring Goldberg for the Saudi Arabia event. This known wrestler by the name of Jon Moxley.
Never heard of her.
That's about it. Never heard of her. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. But let's start off with the TNA Impact pay-per-view. Who here watched it, first of all?
Not.
Okay, that's a
I
no from
watched
Argyle.
0 seconds of it.
That's a 0 from intern.
That's a 0 from me, dog.
We're off to a really good start.
Yeah, we
So
totally
far-
are.
For anyone still listening to this podcast, we're hitting it out of the park right now.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
guys.
you know what? It's only going to get better from here.
I hope so.
It
Okay.
can only get better.
All right, so I guess Paves, did you watch it?
I watched the undercard and up to Gail, like Thick Mama Pump versus Taya Valkyrie, and then Gail Kim versus
Like,
Tessa Blanchard. And after
Okay.
that, I sadly fell asleep.
okay, so you watched part of it. So
Most
I'm
of
the
it.
only one that watched this fully. Okay. So I guess we're just gonna run it down real quick.
Hit us with
First-
it. What happened?
First match, it was a six-way match. It was Ace Austin, who I have no idea who he actually is. He has like some magician type gambit from the X-Men type of what are they called?
X-Men.
No, like he has like an X-Men
comic thing?
magician. Dude, I'm
Gambit?
totally blanking. Gambit, you know who Gambit is from the X-Men, the one that throws
Gambit,
the cards.
Yeah, what about?
Yeah, he
This
has that type of
wrestler-
role.
Yeah, this wrestler you're talking about better use cards as weapons, because otherwise I'm not interested in him.
No, but see, that was basically where it ended. Like he came out, he had a card, he threw it, and then out of nowhere, the freaking pole came out. I'm like, where the hell did he have that on him?
Yeah, he's got the. I see. I'm looking at the picture online. He's got the pole. He's got the trench coat. He's got an ace of
Yeah,
spades in his mouth.
Yeah,
he's
he has
so
all that
cool,
going
like,
on.
The commentary
Yeah.
said he was the one true ace, like Michael Cole levels of like the one true ace.
I think that's
Yeah.
just because it's Ace Austin, his name. I don't know.
I also
Anyways,
think
moving on.
Tanahashi might have things to say about that.
Right.
Ooh.
Next.
I
is,
watched this match.
Did you?
Yeah, I lied. I too fell asleep. I mean, I didn't watch enough to warrant me admitting that I had actually watched this show or trying to pull off that. Yeah, I totally watched this show. But no, I did watch this. Yeah.
Okay.
Ace
so
Austin. That we had Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards is a former Impact champion.
Yeah, hey, I'm glad you
Yeah,
brought him up.
Someone's big name. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty much the fan favorite. He came out, he had a mullet, and he has this whole crazy gimmick going on. Habes compared him to the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, which
Yeah, I tried to get him over.
I think
It
that's
didn't
an
do very
insult to
well.
Eddie Edwards.
I was just saying
um,
by his look, nothing else.
I guess. Petey Williams was in this match. He's still doing the Canadian thing. Good for him.
Well, the show was in
No,
Canada.
no offense, intern.
There's this guy named Cousin Jake. I had nothing for him, and then there's Jake Christ or Chris from
OVE guy.
OVE, which I just learned it's um,
Ohio versus everyone.
Ohio versus everyone, and I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. But they make
Yep.
it work, so it works. And then there was Adam Prince, who did do pretty much the only thing I had from him is he did do a 450 spot. It was a
I liked Cousin
What?
Jake. I
Yeah, Cousin
liked
Jake,
Cousin
yeah, dude.
I just
Power
didn't
move.
have anything like for him to write. Like I actually wrote things down just so I could remember things.
His name makes
Yeah,
you think he's a bushwhacker. Just saying.
Yeah.
He did. He looked pretty normal, but
Anyways, one of the guys I guess hit his finishers, and Ace Austin came in, stole the win with the roll up. I thought it was stupid. It was too quick. You could totally tell the crowd didn't know what the hell happened. But yeah, that was the first match. Second match, what happened? It was Rohit Raju versus Scarlett Bordeaux.
dude, I loved this one.
Scarlett Bordeaux is a lot better than I thought she would have. I think the
Yeah.
only thing that sucked about this is the type of match they decided to give them. It was really Rohit Raju just kind of like taking everything and not. It's definitely not like what other intergender matches have been doing. It was very like I'm the man, you can't beat me. She gets some offense in, takes him down a couple times, but he gets right back up and does everything. She hits hard. She
At least
hit
he didn't
hard.
refuse.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at least he didn't refuse to face her and get fired like Eli Drake.
Is that what was supposed to happen?
Yeah, Eli Drake was supposed to not just wrestle Scarlett. He was supposed to put her over, and he straight out refused. He pulled a Disco Inferno.
Wow, what a dick.
Ooh.
Which
And
is
then
funny
he got
because Disco
fired?
Inferno,
Yeah.
in fact, did wind up wrestling her, I think, on one of the TVs and lost to her. So,
Nice.
Yeah,
which he
but
refused to do to Jacqueline back in the WCW days.
yeah, but yeah, she did really well. She knows how to run the ring. But that's something that I've noticed throughout the pay-per-view. There was 3 matches with women involved, and pretty much every one of those knew how to run like from rope to rope, corner to corner, which I thought was amazing because a lot of the girls in WWE they kind of like slow step it, and I'm kind of like that does not look convincing.
Or the worst, they'll start to hit it hard, but then they'll slow down right before they get to the rope.
Yeah. Like,
you just defeated the whole purpose of that entire movement.
Yeah, and like these girls were just taking everything like full on. It was great. She did awesome. It was a dirty low blow finish. Kind of took away from it, but yeah. Scarlett Bordeaux ended up. Next match we had Moose and the North, who are Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, who this team pretty much had the size advantage for all 3, but then they were up against the Rascals with Stray, Dez, and Wentz. I didn't get what this whole Rascal thing was until I think it was Dez who did the little high thing from the Little Rascals, and I'm like, oh, that's the way they're playing this, I guess.
Oh my goodness, I was going to make a Little Rascals joke, and I didn't have to, apparently.
Yeah, I guess that's where they went.
They had a nice video package before the match started up, kind of.
Dude, and I wish I wrote some of that stuff down because the video packages throughout the pay-per-view were great. I'm like, holy crap! Like if you're not into Impact and this was your first show to watch, like the video package actually set up everything perfectly. I'm like, oh, okay, I know who to cheer for or who I want to cheer for.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah,
and really put over Moose's character. Kind of like
I'm a huge fan of Moose.
Where you get into the Mike
Moose is awesome.
Ooh, I can actually jump in here with a salient comment. I do recall watching Moose a few times in the Lucha Underground season 1, and I enjoyed him there. I've never seen him anywhere besides that, but I enjoyed his work there.
Not Moose.
Not Moose, dude.
Damn it!
No, not Moose.
Who am I thinking of?
You saw him on Ring of Honor. like
You're, think,
3, 4
you're
years
thinking
Was
of
ago.
it
Big
like
Rick.
3? Was it 3 years ago?
Are you thinking Willie
No.
Mack?
No, I think he's probably thinking Big Rick.
Yes, that one. What was his name in
Who,
WWE?
Ezekiel Jackson.
Is he
It was
the
Ezekiel Jackson.
Ezekiel
in
Jackson.
WWE, yeah.
Ezekiel Jackson. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so Ezekiel Jackson was Lucha Underground guy, Big Rick, you say,
Yeah.
Yes.
Last
and Moose was in
last
Ring of Honor a few years ago when I would have been watching it at midnight on Saturdays on my local Fox affiliate owned by Sinclair Broadcasting.
That sounds right.
That sounds horrible. Anyways,
It's pretty much how it is. I'm gonna go back into my cave for the rest of this discussion now and hang my head in shame.
this
Yeah, we're
the only
killing
notes the only thing that I have written down is there was I think it was Moose that jumped up like over 6 feet to catch this guy that was standing on top of the ropes, and he caught him like dead in the chest with both feet. I thought that was really impressive for a guy his size. The commentary team, there was a kick that was by Dez, and he missed. Like you could totally tell he missed, but the way the commentary team played it off is kind of like he got the tip of his head. It was a glancing blow, so they played it off pretty well. Kind of not like where WWE kind of like
He didn't get all of that one.
yeah, like they used different wordage. Also the finisher. I don't know if this was on Moose or on Dez who took it. But when Moose hits his spear, when he hits it, he likes to do like a little front flip type thing, and it just looked weird. I've seen him do this move before, and it didn't come off like that. So I'm
Yeah, it
assuming
did
this
look
was
weird.
this was just on Dez. But yeah, it was a good match. So far the pay per view was great.
I see Lashley do that sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
another way to do that spear. Which I mean, he's got a lot of Lashley in him.
Yeah, he does. I honestly,
I mean, they give all like ex football players spears. Like every pro wrestler just has a spear finish.
mhm. Up next, it was Jordan Grace versus Taya Valkyrie, and exactly that's the way I pretty much reacted. Taya came in here as a knockout champ. This was the first title defense of the night. To be honest, it was kind of sloppy, and I know Argyle is gonna be surprised at me saying this, but it was really on Taya the sloppiness.
Taya can do no wrong.
Yeah, right, but dude, like I was kind of like, man, this is kind of sloppy, and it's on her. I don't know if she was not there mentally or she wasn't comfortable completely with Jordy, but yeah, it was kind of sloppy. There was just some slow parts. It was kind of awkward in some situations. Um, yeah, but the beginning where it was just Jordy just kind of taking her offense and just doing what she does. It was great. Um she just pretty much put on a good match on her part. She did lose for the first time in Impact history, I guess.
Oh, really?
Like she hasn't lost on Impact up to
like,
that point.
She hasn't been
But
pinned or something.
yeah, she hasn't been pinned or anything. But that was just because of the storytelling where Taya was pretty much like injuring one of her arms throughout the match, and then it came into play later that day, or later into the match. So it was pretty good. Let me see if I have anything else written down.
What
I
popped
I
me the most
don't.
about that match, besides just Jordan Grace in general, was Taya's finisher. I mean, it was pretty much a glam slam, but it was called like something with Valhalla and Vikings. You
Is
know,
it
the
Ride of the
Vikings series?
Valkyries or something like that?
No,
No, it's
it was
different. It's
Valhalla,
different.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
but it was pretty good. Yeah.
the name of it popped me. It was cool.
This is where Argyle fell asleep on the Impact.
I don't know. Like honestly,
On the
on
Impact Zone.
before we get to the next match that happened, the commentary team is Don Callis and Josh Matthews. Honestly, I forgot the other guy that we used to. In a Don, no, Don West left a long time ago. Who's the other guy? Mike Tenay.
Yeah, Mike
when
Tanner was Jerry Borash was also
Yeah,
fairly
Borash,
recent.
but Borash is in NXT now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a
But yeah,
producer.
Josh Matthews. I could honestly still see him being replaced, but he's doing a lot better when he's not doing that whole whiny role that he was
Ugh,
doing
man,
last time on Impact.
heel Josh Matthews maybe turned
Yeah,
quickly out of the
exactly.
product.
Yeah. Another thing, Melissa Santos was there. She was interviewing people. They have a lot of Lucha Underground people here, which I thought was great. Um, but yeah, Melissa Santos always a good
Am I
time.
the only one that doesn't mind Josh Matthews here?
He
Well,
interviewed me.
I said he was doing better. Obviously, if they were to hire some, they
I
could hire
think he's
still
a
some
lot
hate.
better
I
as a
still hate Josh Matthews. Just for the record, going back to my cave now.
I think he's a lot better now that he's doing straight play-by-play, although it probably doesn't help his case that he's being overshadowed by Don Callis on the most part, who is really good at his job.
For anyone
Yeah.
out there that listeners that like Josh Matthews or Sasha Banks, know that Argyle at least is holding it down for you in both those camps right now at Kayfabe Soup.
He said the word of the day. Guess who gets muted? Not just kidding. But on Kayfabe Soup, it's now called. She's now called Botcha Banks. So
Oh
gonna keep that.
Christ!
Yeah. Anyways, next match was for the X Division Championship. It was Rich Swann, who everybody knows from 205 Live. He is the X Division champ right now. He came in versus Sammy Callahan.
Did Swan play the babyface in this one?
Kind of, yeah. But another thing is Fulton from what's that? Shoot, the guys from NXT, Eric Young.
Oh, Sanity.
So
Sanity, yeah. Sawyer
Sawyer
Fulton.
Fulton.
Sawyer Fulton's on X or on Impact, which I thought was pretty cool.
I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know
I've
that.
seen it.
Yeah, so he came out with Sammy Callahan. Sammy Callahan sent him to the back just because there was a stipulation is if OVE shows up, they will be fired on the spot.
Oh, was
Which
he
is
the
funny
new
because
member? The new
yes,
member of OVE?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't
So
look at the guy's name or his face, but he
so
was big.
OVE was banned from ringside or they get fired, which I thought was hilarious because this match was under OVE rules, and
Yeah,
pretty much another way to say it is just as a hardcore match. There's a spot where they bring out Legos and they use the Legos as the thumbtacks.
The hardest part of the
replacement.
ring.
Pretty much. But yeah, it was pretty much any Sammy Callahan match that's a hardcore match. It was really good, not taking anything away with it. But it was something other than the different spots. It was a Sammy Callahan match, who I enjoy from Lucha Underground. He's
Oh yeah, Jeremiah Crane.
yeah, I remember watching that guy live, and he's made us move from our seats a couple times.
Here's the important question, though: did he make it through the match without crushing anyone's face with a baseball bat?
There was a baseball bat with barbed wire.
Oh man.
Yeah, but no, nobody's head got smashed in.
Okay, he didn't pull an Eddie Edwards. Good.
Yeah, no. Next match is Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim. It was a really good match. There's some spots that were kind of messed up. What happened?
But she hasn't worked since she retired, whenever
See,
that
and
was.
is that true? I don't know if she's wrestled somewhere else, but one
As
of
far as
the
I know, she was legit retired and hasn't worked.
yeah,
since
that's what I thought. But then like I was reading some things in the comments that we have on Facebook, and a lot of people are like, "Who says this is her last match?" And I'm all like, "Wasn't she retired, or is she still wrestling? What the hell?" But Gil Kim did great. There was a Miss 619 spot. Who was? I think it was Tessa who did a second rope code breaker, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, sure.
They called out wrist control, which I totally marked out for, being a New Japan guy. But they're like, they called out wrist control, and I'm like, no, they fucking. Oh, sorry. That's one. That's one.
The
They
the
called
double
out.
PBRs did put a swear chair sign next to my special wrestling chair. So next time, if you ever make it to Wisconsin, you have to sit in the swear chair. Just so you know.
Swear chair. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, they called out for wrist control. I thought it was great. They did the a spot where God, I forgot who did it to who, but there was a figure four over the ring post, and they called out that Bret Hart did it for.
Yeah, the
Did
Bret
it
Hart
first,
spot.
the Bret Hart spot, and I'm like, that's pretty cool that they actually acknowledged that. Um,
You say
and then
swear chair?
yeah,
I'm a little sorry, I'm a little behind. Okay.
I also moved that we call that move the figure 4 to 10.
Oh, that's a
there,
great name for it.
there was a spot where they did like a glam slam to from the little walkway that they have
Oh
to the
man.
ground. It looked really dirty. I legit thought I think it was Gil Kim that took it. I think it was yeah, I think Gil Kim. I legit thought she was injured.
Wait, they didn't use a
Bumping like
giant
crazy.
obvious crash pad?
No, it
No.
was straight to the ground.
Oh man.
That the match ruled. It was. I might
It
rewatch.
was
Rewatch
yeah,
it.
it was really good. If you guys honestly rewatch the whole paper, or you guys watch the whole paper, you guys get a chance. It was really good. What we bring up too about this is Impact is not afraid about these camera angles. There were some
Oh,
spots
that was something.
where you just had a full shot of between her legs, like for like good couple seconds every time, and I'm like, all right, this is stuff you don't get in WWE.
Another thing with their camera angles, I've noticed it's probably more on their director. Like so on WWE, you never see them slap their thigh to make the slap noise, like ever, right?
Yeah.
So many times.
Only if you're looking for it.
Or
Because
on a
like
ra-
if
Yeah.
or on
it's
a
not really it's
Yeah.
not hidden that well. I mean, it's hard to hide that, but you are correct in that they, whenever possible, they try and go to an angle where it's not
if anything,
painfully obvious.
if anything, where the WWE cams so much, sometimes to its detriment, they're probably trained to hide that from the
Yeah.
hard cam specifically.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because yeah, you could a lot of the angles on
Yeah, they would
Impact.
cut right to it.
Yeah,
cut
but
right to it, and
they
then
weren't
someone
bad
quickly-
angles either. It's just like
No,
PBR
no.
said.
Yeah,
If you're looking for it, you're gonna notice it. But other than
And-
that, you're kind of like,
but
holy
I
crap, that was
wasn't.
pretty cool.
it's like they would do like a spot in the corner and be like they'd zoom in on the slap of the thigh. I'm like, come on.
Mm.
I don't know. That's just
Okay.
something I noticed.
The last match of the night was Brian Cage versus Johnny Impact, who is the champion going into this match. Cool thing was Lance Storm was the special guest referee. I thought that was pretty cool because he just quit WWE and he automatically shows up here.
Yeah, I saw the lead up going into that, and like the backstage segment where he got put into it. Did he do anything or like affect the result of the match?
Not really. Like there was a spot where he got pushed down, and that's about it. But not that I can remember. I didn't have any. I didn't write anything here on my notes.
So there was no more story to him besides like they just really needed a fair ref, pretty much.
I guess pretty much.
That's
Oh, actually, it's
ref.
not the last match. There's one more after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lance Storm was the ref. Dude, Brian Cage is still amazing. Those deadlift suplexes he does from the second rope were pretty cool. And you could totally tell that Johnny Impact was not helping him pull him over the rope, which I thought was great. He still does his usual spots that he did in Lucha Underground. He did the stand up moonsault or the standing moonsault. There was a spot where Johnny Impact did the Spanish Fly, and this is where I'm pretty sure Brian Cage ended up hurting his tailbone because the rest of the match, this is what I think hurt the match completely was Johnny Impact was you could totally tell he was really concerned about Cage, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of talk with it within Lance Storm and everything going on. But it really like
So
Cage
Cage
was
got hurt,
moving.
right?
Yeah, he legit got hurt. He was moving
Yeah.
around like the oldest person to ever step in the ring. Obviously, because his lower back was hurting. And he did. He still the match continued. I think they didn't know. I think they didn't know if they wanted to call it. I did notice that Lance Storm was not wearing like an earpiece, so there was no way to talk to people in the back. So they just continued. They did a couple spots. Um, there was a power bomb onto the table spot. Oh, actually, Lance Storm did do a super kick.
Nice.
I did do that. I did write that down. Um, yeah. I can't really remember anything much more other than Brian Cage kind of having to slowly work his way through this match in pain, and Johnny Impact being pretty much concerned, which is totally understandable. After what's his name? Brian Cage won the match, so he won the title. After the match, Mike Elgin came out. He I don't know if you guys know Mike Elgin, but he was a person of I think he was in Ring of Honor. I'm not 100% sure. I know he was in New Japan.
He was
Yeah, I
Ring
mostly
of
know him
Honor,
from New Japan myself.
and then New Japan. He also had his own indie thing in, I don't know, Minneapolis or something like that. And then
Yeah,
some rape accusations with ring rats or something.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
that
about
news
that.
cycle's already blown over, but someone will repost it, or maybe me.
Yeah,
People fired up.
he's pretty much another one of those like big muscle guys. The one thing that I know him for, other than New Japan, it was when he got paired up with um Jesus, I forgot his name, Matanza from Lucha Underground.
Oh, Jeff Cobb.
Jeff
God,
Cobb, and I guess he was on a phone call or he sent out some text messages and
that he's
was
stinky.
saying his yeah, he was saying his dislike for Jeff Cobb, and it pretty much it turned out like some crap storm. But pretty much everybody got over it. But yeah, that's in the last match. I didn't write anything for it because I just wanted to watch it. Um, my only note on this match, which was LAX, and that's Santana and Ortiz versus the Lucha Bros, who is Pentagon Junior. It's not Dark; he's going by Junior there. Um, and Phoenix, who's just also going by Phoenix, not what they're going by in their indies. Um,
What does he?
great
What does
match.
go by? What
What?
does Phoenix go by in the Indies? Isn't he always Phoenix?
I use Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Ray
okay.
Phoenix. It's a long name, and just because of who owns the name and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then Pentagon is Pentagon. Um,
Does he still go by
Pentagon.
Penta El Cerro Miedo or?
Yeah, that one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe isn't
Um,
And then
AAA in
WLR.
working more closely with Impact now? And if that's the case, I guess that would explain why they could use their actual
Yeah,
names.
I don't know what's going on with the whole Mexican scene, just because I feel like AAA and CMLL are working with so many different promotions, which I think is great because obviously, when you get the chance to share talent, it works out better for everybody. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with the whole Pentagon and Phoenix thing with Mexico and how they're using their names or how they're not using their names. The only note I had here is like they use so many tables. There was a spot I uploaded a little video, or I think it was a GIF, of it was I think it was another Spanish Fly, and I want to say it was Ortiz. No, I think it was a Santana who, in the middle of the flip, just stopped moving and just dropped straight down. And this was from like not the top of the ladder, but like halfway through the ladder.
Oh
And
man.
he kind of just stopped
Wasn't
while Rafe. What happened?
wasn't that the spot on the ramp where he like dies, where Phoenix dies, pretty much?
No, it wasn't Phoenix. Phoenix actually like goes through the table and he lands comfortably. It was
What
the
what it, what it,
LAX guy that just like falls straight down on his neck.
Oh, it was okay. So it wasn't Phoenix. It was that guy. So fun story. When I woke up, like when I dozed off watching that, I woke up for that spot. Like looked at my screen. I'm like, oh, that guy just died.
Oh, I get to watch someone all Japan themselves. Sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then
So
I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I gotta wake up.
that was the Impact pay-per-view by Grand Medusa Jr. um,
Very good.
yeah, you guys need to get on that. I was really entertaining. I was entertained throughout the whole time. I think the only time where I felt kind of flustered, for lack of a better word, was during the Cage and Impact match, but that was just because of what happened.
Yeah, that's
Um,
sounds like the most unfortunate of circumstances.
um, what's next? Um, so I didn't watch SmackDown. I'm pretty sure Intern did, but this week we got the Money in the Bank participants for both
Yes.
the Raw. I mean, before the male and the female matches. Hold on. Does anybody know them from the top of their head from Raw?
Uh, I know the for the man side we got two former winners in there. We got okay, actually just to say two former winners that failed to cash in. We got Braun
Mm-hmm.
Strowman and we got Olive Garden's favorite waiter. Then we
Right.
also have Drew McIntyre, and
Drew
because
Daddy.
we need the obligatory flippy guy, we've got Ricochet.
Yeah, that's right.
He
So
might
that's
be the obligatory flippy guy, but damned if he's not going to have the three best spots in that match.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we also got Ali and Andrade in there. They might want to dole out some of
yeah,
the better spots too.
exactly. Yeah, that's
That's
where my head's
fair. That's fair.
Oh, don't forget about Randy Orton.
If anyone's going to pull out the killer spots, it's going to be Orton.
Yeah, who eats
A
that
ladder assisted
RKO?
chin lock. Whew.
And
For all the
RKO?
superstars in our fantasy wrestling that drafted Ricochet, don't you worry. Ricochet is going to be coming through. I think that's me and Intern. Me, Intern, and Geek Goddess, I want to say, picked Ricochet.
I believe she did. I was doing some practice scoring this week. I mean, if anybody's looked at their league sheet and they saw scores, don't be alarmed. I'm just doing some practice scoring so that everybody can see how it works and all this jazz. And it's not complete for all the shows this week, but I'm just getting some work in. And yeah, Ricochet. If this was a real week, I mean, people who have Ricochet were likely to win just by virtue of having him or Ivar of the Viking Raiders, but that's a different thing. On the topic of the Money in the Bank, there's one person in the men's match that hasn't been brought up yet, and it's my least favorite addition to the match. And I'm sorry, Jabarella, but it's Finn Balor.
Oh, that's right. I'm like, who's the
Yeah,
eighth
the lot-
one?
And
Yeah,
it's
having-
not
having
and it's
Balor
not that I
boss-
don't like it's not that I don't like Finn Balor, and it's not that I don't think he can do cool things in the match. I'm sure he will. I hate when a champion of any kind is in the Money in the Bank match. It's
Yeah,
just I hate it. I hate it. I'm done now. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you stole the exact reason why I was upset about the Balor bulge being in there.
Yeah,
Balabal.
yeah. Most of these guys, I just don't care for. Like, Braun's already won it. Corbin's already won it. Don't care for them. I dislike Drew McIntyre. Um, Finn
I'm
Balor's
gonna have to
champ.
go
Why?
ahead and disagree with you on that
Well, you
one.
could disagree all you want, but you're wrong. Who else was there? But yeah, Andrade, Ali, Ricochet. Super excited for these three, and then Randy Orton. He's only there for like the off of the ladder RKO spot that he's probably trying to.
Or,
they're gonna
or
try
to catch
figure
someone
out.
jumping off the ladder RKO, or
Yeah, something like that. It's
So
RKO related.
who's gonna take that RKO? Is it Ali? Is it Andrade?
I think it's gonna be
Is it
Andrade.
Ricochet?
He's more known to like do the stupid spots.
Yeah, and do it safely.
Yeah.
But Ali is my second pick because he likes to just like die.
It would be a good
Spanish
bonus
fly
question.
over the announce table. I don't care.
Ali has taken some pretty wild moves, in the
Some of
last
those,
few months.
Especially some of those 205 live like street fights he's been in, or even one of his matches with Hideo Itami that ended in a double countout because they both took like the dumbest bump ever. I don't remember what spot was, but it just made me kind of look at my computer and scream, "Why would you guys take that?"
Yeah, for the 10 people in attendance
Yeah, exactly.
and the 5 people watching on the network. Instead, we're all watching Halloween Havoc.
I only
they
watch
should be.
Halloween Havoc if I sync up what happened when at the same time.
I only
It's
watch
funny
Halloween
because
Havoc for the Yeti.
The Yeti!
Intern, do you have the roster for the women's match?
I know the on the SmackDown side of things right out. It was Bailey, which is nice. They're doing something with her finally. Ember Moon, Carmella, and then they were the Fire and Desire, whatever. Were apparently given a choice for one of them, and Sonya Deville told Mandy, "No, you go ahead. You take that. You take that slot."
Really, I didn't get to see
Yeah.
that. I watched Raw. I didn't watch that. I know on
And then
Raw side it's Bliss entered herself into the match. It was Dana Brooks, uh,
Natty and
Natalia,
yeah.
and Naomi. The only one I really cared for was Dana Brooke. Um,
Hey, you guys, one of you guys mentioned this earlier, um, that Trinity and Natalia don't need to be in the match, and I was thinking about it all day, or yesterday, whenever we were talking about this, and there's like no one that's seasoned in that match. Like your best talents work in the tag division, so they need Natalia and Trinity to, be the ring general.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the only reason they're in it.
Well, hey, we got Carmella in there. She's won a Money in the Bank. Just don't discuss how she won it because we can't talk about that anymore.
Hey,
Right,
she
yeah.
won the makeup match all on her own. That's the only one that counts. The first one never actually happened. It was the second one, the one on SmackDown. She won that one by herself. First ever women's Money in the Bank.
Good.
How
First
much
time
is
ever and
WWE
second time
paying
ever.
But yeah, yeah, like I was also thinking, I'm like, why were these girls inserted into the match? Like, there's Ruby Riott. I guess she's getting buried, or I don't know what's going on with her. But yeah, I was trying to think of other girls of who could have been
Did
in it.
Liv
I really
Morgan
couldn't
even
think of
make it?
anybody. No.
Oh, that's
I
pretty
thought
lame.
when they sent Liv Morgan to SmackDown, I thought that was a sign that like Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan, especially after Logan's like showing in the women's battle royal at WrestleMania, I thought it was a sign that Ruby and Sarah Logan would actually like make waves as a tag team
Oh,
in
that's
that
funny.
championship scene. And yeah, that goes to show you what I know.
Honestly, when she got moved over to SmackDown, I just thought that Sarah Logan was going to get repackaged as, I don't know, Ingrid and get moved on as the Viking Raiders valet.
I would be
Amazon
down for
thing
that.
too. The valet experience.
At least she would be on TV.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Plus, she's always one of the, I don't know what they're called, but one of the guys that come out for NXT as
Yeah,
when
she's always
the War Raiders do their entrance.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
Dragonborn, a Skyrim,
Yeah, pretty much.
a Stormcloak. That's the right word. And a Stormcloak.
So those are the participants. So what else is there? Everybody knows who Joey Ryan is, right?
Dong
Yes.
style. Brother.
Who is this Joey Ryan you speak of? I'm just kidding. Of course I know who he is.
Yeah, everyone either loves him or hates him. There's no in between, and there's probably no one that doesn't know that name.
Who hates Joey Ryan?
Jim Cornette.
I don't hate Joey Ryan. I don't hate Joey Ryan, but I am definitely over the novelty of his shtick. Like it's not
Okay.
funny to me anymore.
But that's
Yeah.
not him. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I get it at this point. It's like when he's getting booked places, they want that. Like that's what they're booking him for.
yeah, the other
And I'm
wrestlers
sure he
come
would love
in.
to like try to be more legit, but yeah, I mean when you build up your like gimmick in that way, that's to be expected that when people want you to come in and do their show that they're bringing in the dick style. That's what they want.
Dong style.
Dong.
The king of dong style.
Exactly.
Did you
Anyways,
guys see that
go-
photo of Bobby Lashley going around right now?
Yes, that is
Lashley.
hilarious.
Dong style.
no, I didn't.
All right.
That's
good.
the real king of dong style.
Yeah.
It's on our page, isn't it? Didn't somebody post it? The one that's it's the picture of Lashley, and then right underneath it is the freeze frame from the interview with Charlie Caruso,
I
and
didn't
she's
post
got
it. I
quite
had
the look
sent
on
it.
her face.
I sent it to you guys in the group chat, but
Yeah, I've seen it
Ah.
everywhere else. I don't know if it's on our page.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
Joey
back to
Ryan.
Joey
He's having a farewell tour. That he's leaving the Indies.
it's a pretty cool shirt he's got too. Has anybody seen it? It has like a Kiss logo or like the Kiss font.
Yeah.
No,
Because
I
they're
haven't
doing
seen
their farewell tour right now as well. It's a pretty cool shirt.
Oh,
I wonder if his
that's
farewell
cool.
tour is going to stick as much as theirs is going to.
Yeah, but the fact that he's leaving the Indies, quote unquote, there's a there's a lot of things of where he's gonna go. Apparently, both WWE and AEW has offered him money. He hasn't announced anything of where he's going. But honestly, I hope he doesn't go to WWE. They have no reason for Joey Ryan.
Yeah, the only reason they would want Joey Ryan is to keep him from going to AEW, which is the dumbest reason to hire anybody.
Honestly, if he wasn't going to WWE and this was just go to AEW, would he be farewell thing?
What?
Like, if he was going to AEW, would he really be doing like a farewell to the Indies tour?
Well, yeah, because AEW is a big company. It's not an independently run thing. It is corporate wrestling.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it? And he's literally wrestling with his indie friends though. It's just under a different brand.
yeah, but
Yeah.
It's not so far removed to really want to do a whole production of farewell to this.
But I think it's gonna become the same style as a WWE, where he won't be able to wrestle anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why he's saying goodbye. Because
yeah,
I'm
they
still-
get going
yeah.
on weekly shows.
this becomes a whole thing of like, we're paying top dollar. I don't need you getting injured at some freaking
At
small
pro wrestling.
ring of honor freaking show.
Yeah.
Or
He doesn't do Ring of Honor.
he does he owns bar wrestling. I don't know what's going on with
Oh,
that.
I'm sure he'll be able to still. I feel like they're all going to still be able to do indie shots, but they're gonna have it would be the more leniency of what they can and can't do. Whereas WWE, you can't do anything unless it's like under the umbrella like Evolve, and that's
Well, with
pretty
Ring
much
of Honor,
it.
or not Ring of Honor, with AEW, like I know they've got supposedly you're trying to forge working relationships with with various indie promotions. So I imagine they'll probably be able to work with those ones specifically.
Yeah.
I'm still holding hope that Ryan goes to MLW personally, just for Cornette's reaction.
I would love to watch a Joey Ryan match with Jim Cornette on commentary. I think that would be gold.
We just pretty much missed our opportunity because he just tagged with Hornswoggle maybe a month ago, and then like
Oh.
Cornette joined on the next tapings. I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't buy him going to AEW. I think you're looking at a guy that's a little older, that's on the backside of his career, that has an opportunity to work in NXT for a little bit, as was his offer, and then have a long-term job there working behind the scenes and working in with talent and developmental. So that's more of a career, I would think, that somebody at his age should take. I mean, if he's not, he probably should. But
Holy
But
crap! You're right. He's
you're-
39. I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
But you're
literally
sa-
offering him like the cash his own deal, and then to work in developmental, which, like I said, is more of a career choice than working a 2-year deal with AEW and maybe burning any
Yeah.
bridges he has after that with Vince or Triple H. You know what I mean? By working with
But
direct competition.
he lives in California. Like moved to Florida. Like GRJ said, he
Well,
runs bar wrestling.
yeah, but he lives around here. Where I mean, PWG is basically just developmental for NXT, developmental for WWE. He's just going where all of his other friends went.
I know. I'm just talking about living in Florida or living in California.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
like, that could be a big deal.
like I get that, like NXT the whole career, but like why can't he do that in AEW? You know, he signs a 2 to 3 year contract, and then after he becomes some freaking road agent, it's the same deal
Yeah.
with who? With WWE?
with
No,
Joey.
with Elite, all Elite.
Yeah.
It's
Like
a
you said,
risky
like
move.
that's
Like I
that's
said,
where all
your
that's
choice you're
all
gonna have
that's
to
where
make.
all his friends are at.
I'd strongly suggest
Like
taking the more stable one.
like people online are just love to hate on AEW just because they haven't done anything. But with the money that's supporting them, um, like they're gonna go away in the first couple years. This is, if anything, this is gonna last maybe 6, 7, and then they'll probably go
I mean,
under.
it took WCW 11 years, 12 years to fold, and they were run
Yeah,
way more incompetently than AEW is probably going to be run once they became corporate wrestling. So
and
I think I think they said a
that's
pretty
how.
good chance of lasting.
But, I think I'm so glad you brought that up of how like WCW went under. Um, and I could see AEW doing the same problem, especially since they hired one of their friends. I don't know, something Cutler, um to start wrestling for them, which is one thing if he actually wrestles. But I remember reading and hearing about how Macho Man's brother was signed for WCW for like years, and he never did anything. He
Yeah.
was
And he
just
made like
pretty much,
300 grand a year for 6 years or something like that.
yeah, exactly. And I could totally see um, AEW probably falling into that if they keep going this whole friend route.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Now,
that's
I've
where
heard
I'm at.
I think it was
How
on
much?
JR's podcast. I've heard Cody say that he's only going to hire his friends that he knows will work their ass off for them and will actually produce. So I guess that remains to be seen.
How much money are? I mean, we're talking about AEW as if it just has all these riches and it's a place to be for money. Like, how much money are we talking about? Their first event to kick off things was basically a tailgate party. The next was just a pool party in Vegas that anybody could go to at a Monday morning at the Luxor. Did anybody watch these events? It didn't seem like they had
Yeah,
very
No,
good
no,
production.
yeah. I'm trying to remember what they were
We're,
doing.
we're talking like that. This is huge opportunities for money, cash grab. But I mean, I guess if you're Jericho, but I mean, like I said, everything I've seen so far is T-shirts and tailgate party with a sweet pool party after it.
I don't know, dude. One thing I will say.
Oh, they had the fireworks. They had the fireworks too, didn't they?
Yeah, they had
the
fireworks.
tailgate party. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
wild. That was
Yeah,
like
I mean,
a 4th of July party.
Tony Khan is listed as having a net worth of $7.3 billion. So if he is,
Yeah,
unless he's going full Sinclair and be like, nope, you're getting none of this money, they should be fairly decent in the financial thing, especially where with the critics of AEW referring to him as nothing but a money mark. If that's the case, whew, this guy's going to be the limit for them financially.
yeah.
Good 5-10 years.
What's the guy's name?
Tony Khan.
Yeah. He was in an interview not that long ago where he said that they asked him what's going to be his role, and he said he didn't want to be a Vince McMahon type character, which is very I think it's very positive.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be more of the Ted Turner role, I think.
I guess, but yeah, he said that he doesn't want to be on camera or anything, but he's really excited. He's been a fan. Um, Obviously, it came out saying that the Young Bucks weren't his first choice, but with how New Japan kind of had to take a little step back, I think the Young Bucks are going to help him a lot because that following is strong, and they're just waiting for that first event, which comes out later this month, right?
Yeah. Is it a week after Money in the Bank? Or yeah,
25th. Yeah, I know that's a
25th.
huge talking point for people that are kind of pessimistic to AEW is that basically Tony Khan is just a mark and who has a lot of money, and he's surrounded himself with professional politicians and pro wrestlers. And I guess the critique, or I guess the kind of the worry is how is people that are. I mean, if you know anything about politicking, these guys are professional at manipulation, getting their way. But yeah, that's kind of the worry right now. Is you just have a mark with a lot of money, and who's he going to say no to? Like he's dealing with pro-con.
I'm almost more worried that the opposite happens. That it goes the WCW route where the mark says, "I'm pumping all this money in, so now here's a huge list of demands of things I want from you, want you guys to do, things I don't want you guys to do," and just takes way too hands-on to control the product for someone that doesn't know what the industry is all about, a la WCW.
So pretty much what every fan wants to do with WWE.
And basically.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, speaking of the AEW pay-per-view on the 25th, Jon Moxley. Do you guys know who this guy is?
Never heard of her.
Never.
He plays with the toy chainsaws, right?
No, I think this is the young kid from CZW. Like he's an up and comer.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So
playing with the
I certainly know that he's not a lunatic.
Yeah, there was a like a teaser video that came out at midnight last night or the night before. It was like that. It was like
morning.
It was at midnight and it just came out, and there was a couple of clues there. I think Argyle posted something on the page.
Yes, he's outside the Viper Room out here in LA. Yeah, with the dice that show 2/5, which is the date for Double or Nothing, May 25th coming up.
I don't know though. If he's outside of the Viper Room, that sounds like he's going back to WWE to wrestle Randy Orton. Clearly.
Yeah.
He says sarcastically.
But then it was just like a little cryptic video that was coming out. Obviously everybody's talking about what this means, whether it's AEW or whether he's going back to WWE under Moxley. But yeah, people kind of just ripped that video apart, and this could mean that, this could mean that. There's a big dog in the video, I guess, and there's like, this is Roman Reigns' thing, and I'm kind of like, wow. I'm like, this is pushing it, you guys.
You know what's great though is that even if some of the ideas are ridiculous or there's nothing to be read into, and I'm more in the camp of there's nothing to be read into, but the fact that so many people have so many ideas about it is good news for Dean Ambrose, because it means that people actually are interested in what he does. So all of the poor booking he had to sit through for the last couple of years, getting goofy and wacky and whatever, like him coming back as the Jon Moxley character is definitely something people in general are interested in. So whatever he does, people are going to notice.
Pretty much. I kind of hope
his last shot to prove that he's like a top guy no matter where he goes.
I don't even think that's the thing. I think the only thing that's the question here is if he's gonna go back to the CZW promotions type deal.
Oh, please no.
Right? That's the only thing that's there. Because I don't see him going. Go ahead.
If he works the indies, I want to see like a long program with Sami Callihan and OVE. I don't know where they're gonna do it, but that would be
maybe if he wound up.
Or what about Moxley versus Jimmy Havoc?
That would be good too.
Yeah, I forgot where I heard that, but that was one of the things. Is if he AEW, that would be like the perfect first match or first storyline for him, which makes sense. But yeah, I didn't even think about him going to Impact. That wasn't even anywhere across my mind. But yeah, because he turned down, I guess, a lot of money from WWE. So I'm pretty sure that money's not an issue for him right now, and he just wants to be credible again as a wrestler, I guess. and not being some lunatic fringe watered
Can you-
down.
Wait, you
I
mean
mean,
he
I
didn't
want him
like
to
basically
prove
being a
himself.
Looney Tunes character? Who knew?
Who knew? Or the potted plant. What was the potted plant's name?
Mitch.
That was Mitch.
No, I want him to prove himself because I think he can be great, but not in WWE. At least not with what they're giving him. So Impact, AEW could be cool.
Yeah, hopefully he winds up in someplace again more credible than CZ freaking W.
Yeah.
Wasn't Leo Rush CZW's champion before he joined NXT?
I believe
Yeah.
so. I know he wrestled there at the very least.
I know he was a champion, as was
Yeah.
Rich Swann, but I don't know if he was the champion. I don't know if they had like the equivalent of like a cruiserweight or light heavyweight, or I know that CZW had like a whole division of like young like wrestlers, like not just
Wrestling
deathmatch
division.
guys. Like they did have
Yeah.
actual wrestling matches. A lot of the guys in the cruiserweight division now came through CZW in the past. Now Drew Gulak was CZW champion.
Drew Gulak is honestly the only reason I watched any CZW for a while.
Yeah, and he was actual CZW champion. I don't know about Rush though.
He had the same gimmick, right? Whereas like no
Yeah, it was for a better CZW. It was an anti-hardcore gimmick, basically.
yeah, pretty
complete
much.
with like mock political commercials. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
That's what
and
was
I thought
great about him doing that character in on 205 was because it was like, it's like actually the same character, only instead of anti-hardcore, he's anti-high flying.
And then he
yeah,
became
and they should
suddenly
have given
pro
him the
PowerPoint.
title.
Yeah.
They should have given him the freaking title at that point. It was so good. But I think at that point, Enzo was champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was Moxley.
No, you're
What
right.
else happened
It
this
was
week?
when Enzo was champ because they were right before Enzo got released is when they were seemingly building to Drew Gulak versus Enzo for the title.
And then they had Gulak turn on Tony Nese instead and stay heel. And it's like, what the F are you doing?
Yeah, and then it all fell apart when they released Enzo.
Yeah, let's just blame Enzo on that one.
I blame Enzo for everything.
Blame Enzo.
Yeah. What else happened, you guys? I know on NXT. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen NXT, but Kushida debuts this week, and
I'm watching it on mute right now, but Kushida hasn't shown up yet.
Okay, let's not talk about that.
Photo for that.
Let's not talk about that.
I got something that happened.
Yes.
All right. Recently, on the Kayfabe Soup Facebook page, I posted a create a superstar graphic for you guys listening out there in podcast listener land to create your own superstars for season 4 of the predictions game. So far, a handful of people have done it, including our very own GRJ. And I'll get around to it at some point. But I just have to remind everybody, get up there and do it. It's still the pinned post on our Facebook page. Even if you're not on Patreon yet, if you do it and make your character, then I've got the info. So then that way, as soon as you get on that Patreon and into the Patreon predictions game, you can get into the super cool character-driven storylines and all that jazz. So now that I've said all that out loud, that's not really something that happened so much as it was time for me to shamelessly plug our stuff. But
no, go right ahead, man.
Yeah,
go right ahead. Continue.
And if you're not on Patreon, you're a complete jobber. I'm on our Patreon. I'm a patron.
Same.
That's true. That's true.
I am too.
That's also true. And PBR will be at some point. PBR is just kind of lazy.
Yeah, the intern will be as soon as he can figure out why his bank account and PayPal hate each other.
See, the way my bank account works is
that Canadian money exchange.
No one?
I say just blame Elon Musk.
Yeah, and Enzo.
And Enzo.
Hey, both names, 4 letters, both start with E. I don't think that's a coincidence.
You guys are all tripping. Enzo was a good cruiserweight champion.
Get out.
I
out
thought-
of the office right now.
No.
I thought Enzo was great as a cruiserweight champion on the most part. When he didn't have to wrestle.
Enzo, yeah, I agree. But Enzo probably brought more exposure when he wasn't with his in-ring work, doing it. But he brought more exposure to that belt than anyone.
I'll give you that. It
Can't
brought
win.
more exposure, but I think for me anyway, his shtick had been worn so thin by that point that even though he was still very good at talking on the microphone, the things he was saying were just at that point just getting repetitive and boring for me. And then the worst part was he was setting up these matches where he sucked at wrestling, so the whole character was just dying for me. When they released him, I don't even care what they released him for. It could have been for just some bad backstage stuff, and I would have been happy with it. So it was good riddance for me. I was done with him. I wanted him gone.
He got in some legal trouble, I believe.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely remember.
Yeah,
He just was
Saying
fully consensual.
whatever. Yeah, I believe he has a song about it. But no, I remember what it was. I'm just saying, if that had never happened and he got released for some minor thing, I would have been just as happy because I wanted him gone, and then I got what I wanted.
Hold on, bad joke incoming. I'm pretty sure she said his was a minor thing. Oh!
Dang.
Oh my
How you doing? How you doing?
Lashley. You know what? I felt like his gimmick and his shtick. I don't know. To me, it hadn't worn off yet. I mean, I still remember popping for when he ran down the whole roster, the whole cruiserweight roster, and basically just had a roast.
That was really good, but by a few months later, and he was just rambling like he was coked out of his head most of the time, and it's just like
Probably was.
Shut up. Well,
But I do agree with Argyle.
character.
That segment where he ran down everybody while they were standing on the apron, I'll give him credit for that. That was funny. And there was, I think, right around the same time, there was the segment where the entire cruiserweight division just beat the crap out of him for
that was
a
great.
solid minute. And that was, I'll give him credit for taking one hell of a beating in that segment.
If I can be perfectly honest, I thought that was, as much as I've talked about getting sick of him, it was still so much more fresh than babyface main roster Enzo, because at least he felt like more of a three-dimensional character. When him and Cass came up to the main roster, they just basically became DX era New Age Outlaws, a walking 5-minute long catchphrase that never really changed or grew or evolved or anything positive.
I admit that I think I actually popped for that first their first run, and I think it was that I'm talking about their main roster babyface run, and I'm talking about the time that Enzo was opening Raw, I think more weeks than not, and I think he was opening Raw continuously on a week-to-week basis, and I'm remembering one that he basically just got. He was kind of shooting, and he kind of got kind of heartfelt and got in his feels a little bit, and basically, I mean, he kind of humble bragged about it. Basically said, I was born to do this. I have a gift, and this is what I was meant to do, and this is what I'm good at, and I enjoy doing it, this and that. And I admit, I wasn't a huge fan of Enzo so much. I can give him credit where it's due. Like I said, with the exposure that he gives and stuff. Obviously, I'm not a fan of his in-ring work whatsoever. But I do know that promo in particular hit me in a way. I got in my feels a little bit too, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is what you're good at. You do deserve it. So I mean, that's one thing that I can give credit to Enzo for. There's some good things. It may have worn out, but I mean, I admit I could have popped for it when it started. Yeah.
I think we've said entirely too many good things about Enzo in a row, so I just want to remind everybody that this is a man who been trying to slide under the bottom rope.
Yeah. How did we get into freaking Enzo?
I have no idea.
Sometimes things happen and it just flows organically.
There's nothing going on with that guy right
now.
Well,
we're in an empty space. Division. Yeah, and we're in a bit of an empty space.
And you know what?
Q&A
Enzo gave us way more content about the cruiserweights than what they're doing now.
Yeah.
The man's
Last
not
week.
wrong. The man's
Okay.
not wrong.
All right, so we're doing Q&A questions from the Facebook page.
Yeah, I
Danny
posted that
Brunner,
kind of late.
it's fine, dude. Yeah, we should definitely get posting this a lot earlier.
I don't know. I
Will
think we
Cody
only had 2
Rhodes,
questions the last couple weeks either.
yeah, will Cody Rhodes ever get himself over, or get over himself? Will ever?
Get
Will Cody
it
Rhodes ever
over.
get over himself?
So this is
Oh,
referring to
That's that.
the little back and forth between him and Triple H over the last few days.
I haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, smarten us up, PBR. What happened?
If I recall the order here, what it basically amounts to is the last comment from Cody was that he was talking about how unique the AEW roster is going to be and how it's going to be all people who are signed because they have a shot at top. And what he ended up saying was that probably only about 5% of the current WWE roster would be into AEW. And it was an interesting word choice, accepted, because it kind of in there definitely sees what he's doing as like heads and shoulders above what WWE is doing, but also what Triple H is doing with NXT. And in terms of this question, I see where this is coming from because in a lot of Cody's comments and interviews, it really he seems to get a little bit more full of himself with every new interview. You know,
Yeah.
obviously he's been very successful, so it's not like he doesn't have a reason to be. But
Cody's coming
my
across
answer to
as
the
if,
question is no. I don't think he ever will get over himself.
I mean,
Cody's
does he have
Cody's
to?
coming across like as if WWE talent would be like so lucky to leave their contracts and go there, right?
To be fair, I'm pretty sure
That's what it
there's
sounds
several
like.
WWE
Yeah.
talent that feel that way as well, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Like you talk about like the Sasha Bankses and the Luke Harpers
Or the
and the
Backshavers.
Revivals and yeah, they're like a lot of those guys probably would be maybe better used, but that all depends on what sort of exposure AEW ends up having. If they have a TV deal, if they have the size of audience as you know, I mean, they'd probably have a better or bigger audience than Impact, but they're never going to have the size of audience as WWE unless they get on a equal sort of channel, and I don't see that happening. I'd love to be surprised.
For
but...
that matter, they're also going to have to manage to put on a product that is somehow different enough from what the WWE is doing, but still manage to be more mainstream friendly than say what a lot of the indie product that's out there now is. So yeah, they've got a pretty big challenge if they want to get the kind of eyes on them that would justify Cody's full of himself attitude, I think.
Right. Plus, I think until he's actually proven that he can do like a weekly production or even maybe not weekly, but like regular production more than just 2 or 3 big shows per year, I wouldn't even say AEW is close to being on the same level as certainly MLW or even Impact. At least they have weekly production. You know, Ring of Honor is that's kind of a dumpster fire, but they still have regular TV. And in that regard, all of those companies are doing more for the talent than AEW right now. Because all AEW is doing right now is signing people and then getting ready for their first show. So I want it to be a success. I want them to be a success because the more successful companies there are, the better wrestling as a whole is. But until that happens, I don't think Cody should be quite so I'm the best kind of thing until he's proven that he's actually done it.
I sometimes wonder how much of this "I'm the best" mentality he has is just him still being kind of Triple H's comments at that Hall of Fame. Vince would buy your pissant company just to fire you again. Because I noticed that when he was doing one of his
started, yeah,
because then he did one of his Double or Nothing YouTube videos, and he used that phrase "pissant" again when. So, yeah.
Well, he also, I believe, worked an F-bomb in there too.
Oh yeah, at the very least.
I'm not GRJ though, so I'm not going to say the word that he used.
So yeah, as much as he wants to come off as being high and mighty, I think Triple H might be in his head a little too much here.
Oh yeah, well for sure Cody's had a chip on his shoulder since he left, and I definitely get that based on literally everything about Stardust. So I can see why he would be bitter, but yeah, he just needs to be, as the saying goes, he needs to be careful about writing so many verbal checks if he doesn't know he can cash them yet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but what happens once like let's say AEW is a huge success. At that point, I feel he did so much better than Triple H because he didn't have to marry into it.
Oh hey,
Well,
is Triple H
you
being
can.
a cerebral assassin to Cody Rhodes? Is he in his head?
Oh,
I didn't
Okay,
hear what you
okay.
said. What happened?
What?
the moment is
I didn't
past.
I didn't hear what he
Triple H
said. I couldn't hear it.
Triple H is
Oh.
the greatest of all time. That's what
He's
he said.
cerebral. He's a cerebral assassin. He's
Uh
yeah.
huh.
I had
He
to Google
cerebrally
it, man.
assassinated Cody's brain. He's in his head.
I couldn't think of the words. I had to Google it. I'm sorry, guys.
Did anybody hear Drew McIntyre kind of talk about the guys that like want to get out of their contracts? What he had to say about that?
No.
Nope.
No, smartness.
He wasn't asked like directly about individuals specifically. But he was asked about kind of like the culture of guys like wanting to leave like lately and stuff, and he basically just he was really vague, but ultimately said that like I've done that, and I've went out on my own, and it's not as great as you think, and we have it really good here. With our opportunity in the company that we work for, and I'm thankful for it. Is basically what he said. But he's just saying, I have the experience of doing that, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
He
Wait,
says
what?
that, yet at the same time, if he had never left WWE, he probably wouldn't have gone out and become a much more polished, seasoned worker, and be able to be brought back and actually be of value. Just
right?
the company line in my eyes.
I think it comes down to when you're talking
just
about
brown
people
nosing it.
leaving. Yeah, when you talk about people leaving, I think it comes down to why that person would be leaving. Are they leaving because they've kind of reached the end of their road in WWE, but there's a chance that they could do like Drew McIntyre and go work on, their whole presentation and package, and as JR would say, go off and learn a new hold and then come back? Or is it like a Sasha Banks thing where she's just super angry and forget
Banks.
WWE, I want to go do something else, and then like burning bridges, kind of leaving? Because I think Drew might be referring more to leaving because I can do so much better than WWE
That makes
versus
sense.
leaving because there's nothing for me here. I'll go where I can be used, and then hey, if I get myself super over, I can come back here and have stuff to do. I think it's two different scenarios, and one of them is likely to be more successful than the other one.
When he was in the WWE, where did he go?
I know he wrestled in the UK, and then he also went to Impact.
He was in Impact, wasn't he? Yeah, Drew.
Okay.
Drew.
Impact. So yeah, obviously he did not have a good time in the indies, or not indies, but in other promotions, because at that time Impact was complete crap.
He also
And it was really the only other competition.
Yeah, exactly. So to go off interns words was completely right. Like if he never left, if he never went around and then went back to WWE, he'd probably still be some jobber doing what was he doing?
Slater
Three-man
stuff.
band?
3-man band.
Yeah,
Three-man
he'd still be
band.
doing that crap, which honestly works better for him.
Well, if we still had 3-man band, what we wouldn't have is the modern day version of Jinder Mahal, and we wouldn't have had that awful 6 months with Jinder as champion.
Mahal.
We'd also actually have Heath Slater on television again.
Here's Argyle with his Jinder was a good champion.
He was.
Oh boy.
I won't go on about it, but I just had to put my stamp on it.
Okay, so that I don't know if we ever answered that question, but next, Brian Smith asks, "Who is your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? Top 4 of all time?"
Oh, That one's
Ooh.
spicy. Who's that? Brian Smith?
Yep, he's the one that
The
always
myth.
sends in.
That's
He always
that's
sends in the
top guy right
question.
there. That's a top guy question.
Yeah.
Hey, this is also a top guy that's already filled out his create a superstar form too.
Nice.
Get it.
And by the way, Argyle, you cannot pick Triple H for all 4 of them. Just so you know.
That's gonna be it's gonna be a huge freaking nose. If anything.
Right. Right. Argyle's would be like Triple H, the Game, the King of Kings, and Hunter S. Helmsley. And then like a little thing of Terra Rising down at the bottom.
He doesn't have like a statue, like a head, but there's a plaque. There's definitely a plaque down there. Like
Yeah, like
if you're
those
visiting-
historical marker plaques, where
Yeah,
you can walk up to it and read it.
Exactly.
I hate questions like this just because
I
it's
do
so
too.
hard. Because you can talk about, okay, who are the 4 best wrestlers of all time? You can talk about who were the 4 best in terms of, the popularity of wrestling and all that. And there's so many different types of Mount Rushmores, and I'm the type of person I can never nail down like a favorite or a top 5 or even a top 10 most of the time because
Exactly.
it would change every
the
day.
same question of like, what's your top 5 favorite movies?
Right,
Like,
right.
If you could answer that very easily, you have not seen enough movies.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Or if you're like
Um,
me, you grew up watching the 4 Pillars of Heaven in all Japan and just know to pick them.
Oh, there you go.
I think the easiest.
I'll take a stab at it if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
We already called yours out.
On a shoot, like and kind of just shooting from the hip. I'll go Hulk Hogan for building Hulkamania and how successful that was. Austin for being the biggest draw of all time. Rock for being probably, I mean, arguably Hogan too, but having the most success out of pro wrestling into the mainstream. I mean, Rock makes $20 million per movie now. He's the biggest movie star in Hollywood. Everyone and their mother knows who The Rock is. You don't have to be a pro wrestling fan. And I mean, yeah, Triple H.
So I'm with you.
No,
I'm with
no
you
Ric
on
Flair?
the first 3. I'm with you on the first 3. I would put John Cena if we're talking about the being big for the business. I think John Cena would be the 4th one in place of Triple H. Now, if you're talking best wrestlers, then I don't think Hogan or Cena belong on there. And I would say Ric Flair would be in there, as I think Habes was trying to put in there just now, but I kept talking over him because that's what PBR does. Oh, damn it. PBR forgot that he was going to talk in the third person this whole podcast.
Oh,
there we go.
The almighty PBR.
Okay, so
There's
my only
still time.
problem.
PBR still has time.
Yeah, the only problem with that is you pretty much just talk WWE. Like there and
Well, that's my wheelhouse. That's what makes it even harder is you have to start factoring in all the other promotions and the best wrestlers in the world and all of that. And yeah, that's a lot.
And then you get Triple H. Is what you get.
Triple H is probably
When
like
it all
top
comes down
50.
to it.
The other problem too is the way, besides not factoring in like people outside of WWE, we're really mostly only factoring in people within our lifespan. What about people like Gorgeous George, who was one of the very first major draws during the emerging television era? You got Jerry Lawler and the insane ratings he helped pull down in Memphis back in the day. Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee.
And the insane number of championships he's won. Yeah. He's won something like 140 different titles.
Yeah.
Didn't he win his Memphis title like 64 times or something?
Probably.
Something like that.
Yeah, all right.
Pretty insane. Or you could even put someone like Ricky Dozan in there, because without him, there would be no Puroresu.
That's how you say that word?
Yeah.
I've read it. Didn't come out my tongue the same way.
Is anybody else gonna give their? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Before I get completely buried by any superstars out there, I mean, obviously, I have Triple H up there, not just for his in-ring ability and his on-screen character. I think Triple H is one of the greatest of all time because of not only that, but also what he's done for the business.
And we'll eventually have a whole podcast dedicated to Kyle enlightening us on
That's
why.
why I didn't go too far in depth about it, but I mean, yeah, before anybody completely buries me thinking Triple H is just the end all be all in ring pro wrestler, which I mean I think he's great, but there's more to it. But
yeah,
we'll
and you'll
get into that
eventually
in a
have a
later
chance to
podcast.
bury him over that.
It is important to point out that when I eventually make the part 2 of the Grand Slam video series, that episode will be on Triple H, and I will make sure that Argyle is a guest on that one.
Time to play the game. I'm ready. Still ready. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, I don't have a. I might eventually write out a nice long form Mount Rushmore article or something because I'd have to put some real thought into it because, like I said, there are a lot of factors beyond just these are WWE guys from within my lifetime.
Ooh.
Okay.
Didn't we had
like
a,
mine.
wasn't there a question about Army of Darkness, or am I tripping?
Yes, there was.
It was from Pat Snyder. What's your favorite moment in Army of Darkness?
Hey, it's important to include that question because I make it a point when I do those posts. Ask us anything.
Yeah.
Now, my answer to that question is I haven't seen that movie in about 20 years, so I have no idea.
That's exactly where I'm at too. I saw that earlier. I was like, question, cool. I'm like, I haven't seen that in about 2 years either. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I
Hayes
think the
does
only
not know
thing.
what that is.
Wow,
At all.
go culture yourself, dude. The only thing I can remember is when he kills everybody. When he kills everybody at S Mart.
Hey man, spoiler alert! Come on, I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen Clerks?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start.
That didn't sound very confident.
Yeah, it didn't.
Can't recite a line, you guys, but I've seen it.
If you can't recite Clerks lines and you haven't seen Clerks,
That's
Well,
true.
you know when you
If you can't recite the whole movie,
Clerks is just lines, man.
that's all it is. All right, we're gonna before we get into different things, we're gonna close out right here. First of all, thank you everybody for listening. Like usual, we're still on Anchor, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Spotify, among other streaming sites. We have T-shirts up at Pro Wrestling Tees. I don't know if that sale's still going on, but check it out. We are on Patreon where we have where we moved the predictions game, and thanks to PBR over here, we have a fantasy wrestling league. Pretty much same thing like fantasy football, but with wrestling. So if you're listening to this, you might love that. Like always,
No, you will love that.
What did I say?
You said you might love that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You will love that.
You gotta be confident. You gotta tell the
I'm
people.
sorry. I totally in my head I thought I said you will love that, but apparently I can't even listen to myself. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, Reddit's there. We're on YouTube. Obviously, this is one of another streaming sites that we're going on. But yeah, thanks for listening. And that's it. Let's say goodbye, you guys.
Top guys out.
Top